welcome to A Valid Answer. This is are we on 14 already?
14. We've done this a lot.
14. We've been doing this quite a bit, and we're since like February.
Right.
That's a lot for us. It's like asking an addict how long you've been clean. Oh, a long time, like 3 hours. But sorry to all you addicts out there that
That's no joke, but yeah.
But no, we've been doing this now. Again, this is Scott and Marshall, a pastor and an atheist, getting together on a Sunday night. At a church, by the way. He comes to a church, and the church is yet to burn down. He's actually attended.
There's a fire station nearby, so I feel
he's attended church a couple times now, and the church does not burn down. I always thought that was a funny thing that people would think, like, if I go into the church, it's gonna, God's gonna strike me down, or the sin of me is going to, somehow ignite everything and terror. It's like thinking that a hospital is gonna burn down because a sick person comes in. That's what the hospital is there for. You're what the church is there for. Anyway, side note. Okay. Just had to get that in there. But
I'm saved.
A pastor and atheist come together and talk about, the things happen in the world, philosophy, religion, politics, all that kind of stuff. And today we are discussing kind of a big topic that's in the news recently. Tell us something about a wedding cake in Colorado. Tell me about what's going on, Marshall.
Well, the Supreme Court handed down a decision last week saying that a baker that it was acceptable, I guess, more. Well, actually, the court narrowed ruling. So
they did not. That was kind of like a little bit like. No, they didn't necessarily side entirely with the baker. Yeah, they didn't say they didn't really make a decision at all.
Exactly. What they basically said is that the baker's rights were violated in the lower courts because the lower courts were so prejudiced against him.
Yeah.
And as a result, it was actually a 7-2 decision.
Yeah, so it wasn't even like
it wasn't even
down
like
the line
conservative versus liberal. It was no, your rights were probably very much violated, and this case is going to have to, we're going to have to answer this question.
But it was kind of like the case being settled because the guy wasn't read his Miranda rights. It wasn't really about the actual
right. It was a technicality as opposed to a meaningful decision that is intended to solve this debate once and for all.
And what have people done with this decision?
Well, allegedly,
conservatives have ran out saying we won.
Yeah. So allegedly, I don't believe this has actually happened. I think I saw some stuff on the web, and apparently it goes back to 2015. But somebody put up a sign saying "No gays allowed."
Yeah.
Saying I think like in Tennessee or somewhere.
Something like that, yeah. I think a second time it happened in Colorado this week.
Mm-hmm.
But people are, because I've seen it a place in Colorado, which wasn't the bakery. Then I also saw it reported as a place in Tennessee. They may be getting confused. It may be both, but either way.
Yeah, fake news is out there. You've got to fact check.
Yes, don't ever just post something because you agree with it.
Okay, so
fact check it.
Let me open with a question, Scott. I make guns. I sell guns, and I don't like Christians. You come into my gun shop, and you want to buy one of my guns. Do I have to sell it to you?
I'll just go buy it somewhere else.
Oh, well, that's nice when you're part of the dominant culture in a society. That's you have that option. But what if you're not? What if you were a minority?
Reverse it the same way. Something that actually happened, which was banks would not do business with gun companies. They would not give loans to. There have been several banks who have done this to say we will not give a loan to a gun company.
Right, but that's a business decision based on liability.
They don't want liability. No. It was openly because they did not want to be part of what the gun rights were doing, what the gun companies were doing. Mm-hmm. So a new business created. A bank, that somebody started a bank specifically for gun businesses, and now most gun businesses are doing their business with that bank because that bank said, well, I will step in and do that.
Very, very American, very free market, very capitalist, right? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, but can I get mad that those banks won't do business with gun companies?
Yeah. If the banks are discriminating unlawfully, then absolutely you can be mad about it, and those banks should be penalized.
Were they?
I don't know the details.
Okay.
But I was pitching to you a hypothetical question, though. If I own a gun shop,
I pretty much answered it straight up.
Right, and you said you could go elsewhere, but what if you can't? What if it's the only gun shop for 100 miles around?
Mail order.
Amazon, right?
Amazon. Actually, you can't, but.
Well, there you go. Okay.
It just goes into. I understand selling a product is. I believe selling a product is different than performing an art.
Okay, can you explain? Go ahead, please.
I believe that if I am performing an art, I cannot be forced to perform an art that if I choose, if I make the choice to say, I will not perform this kind of art, mm-hmm. do I not have the choice to say, I will not perform this kind of art? Or should I be forced to perform art that I disagree with?
What do you mean by forced?
Like what's happening?
Because we're not putting guns to bakers' heads and saying you're going to bake a cake or else you're going to get it.
This guy wasn't arrested? He wasn't arrested by people with guns?
I don't know that he was arrested.
Was he? I don't know, but I'm saying
not that I know of. If this is a civil case, not a criminal case, so I highly doubt the police would be involved.
Okay, so was he being
officer? You won't give me a cupcake.
So hold on. So was he being forced? He was being forced. He was being forced by the rule of law.
Right, which there is a coercive element, but what does it mean to be forced? That's what I'm asking you. What do you mean by forced? Because you're saying that you can't be forced as an artist to perform. What does it mean to be forced? What do you mean by forced?
I shoot videos.
Okay, right. All right.
And I've talked about this. I shoot videos. I make videos. I've done commercials. I've done interviews for nonprofits. I've done all kinds of different stuff. If somebody approaches me and say, hey, I want you to shoot an interview, mm-hmm. and it's for a high school graduation or whatever, cool, yeah, I'll do that. I want you to shoot this commercial for my company that's over here from my bakery, let's just say, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Hey, I want you to make me a porno. As a pastor who has a side business on video, can you force me to say, no, you will make a porno for me?
How much money does that pay?
Does it matter?
Oh, well,
I'm talking about the principle. Can I be forced by threat of lawsuit, by threat of law? But can that be brought against me?
Okay, so now you have to answer the question, why won't you take on this project? And you have a variety of answers available to you, right? You can say,
well, my simple answer is that my beliefs say that sex should be between a man and a woman, only between a man and a woman, and husband and wife specifically. And there shouldn't be a camera person involved in that, and that should not be made public. And those are my beliefs, and I will not go into someone's bedroom or whatever, simulated bedroom, and make a porno movie with them having sex. I don't believe that that is where the camera belongs. I don't believe that that's where I belong in their relationship. I won't participate in that. It is against my beliefs to make that.
Mm-hmm. But you could turn them down based on, you could say, well,
So I could lie. I could lie.
You could say, well, no, you can show them your schedule and say it's
but what if my schedule's open? I have to lie. If my schedule is open and what they're asking me to do is not illegal, do I still have a right to say, no, I don't create art like that?
You could also say that I don't do that kind of cinematography or whatever, because that's not the kind of cinematography that I was trained to do. I do interviews.
No, I can
movies
shoot whatever.
Perhaps,
no,
but I don't do.
That's an illegitimate reason. That's lying. That's twisting
I disagree. I think that's a very specific form of artistic expression, which is this adult entertainment film pornography.
Let's change it. I'm a photographer.
Okay.
And I do wedding photos and I do engagement photos.
Okay.
And I'm doing this. This person comes in. We want to do engagement photos. Cool. All right. We want our engagement photos to be in the nude. I won't do that. But you do engagement photos.
Okay.
But I won't do that.
Okay. Look, when people are taking their clothes off, that's a whole different ball of wax.
Why?
Because it's sexual.
Why is that?
It's sexual expression. It's sex, and sexual expression.
And what is the definition?
Regulated and limited. It's pornography. Mm-hmm. Pornography is 18 and over. Okay, it's tight. Okay. It's very.
I'm an alcoholic.
It's restricted.
Okay. Let's say I'm an alcoholic. Okay. And I won't drink alcohol anymore, and I don't believe I do not believe in alcohol. They want me to make a beer commercial. I'm like, no, I don't. I believe alcohol is dangerous, and I'm just saying I'm not actually an alcoholic, and I don't believe this about alcohol. But let's just say if I was, and I said I believe alcohol is dangerous, I don't believe people should be drinking it. I don't drink it myself, and I will not participate in making a commercial that's going to promote it.
Okay.
I will not create. I will not use my talent to create art that creates something. I will not use my talent to create art that glorifies something that I don't believe in.
Well,
Do I not have that right? Or will you force me by lawsuit to say, no, you will make me a beer commercial?
I might force you. And here's why. And the answer is, yeah, wow, huh?
Yeah, wow. In America, I can be forced. He's saying in his America, I can be forced to create art that he wants.
No.
Even if I'm willing to not take the money. I'm saying you don't have to, I'm not taking, it's not like I took the money and then said, sorry, I'm not going to make what you want. I'm keeping the money. That's robbery. Mm-hmm. You're saying I have to make your product the way you want it. You can't go to somebody else who will make it for you. I cannot refuse to make that product.
That might be a factor. If I can easily go somewhere else.
Well, it doesn't matter if you couldn't easily go somewhere else. You can't. I'm not your slave. You can't force me to make your product.
You are conflating art with business. If you are doing business, you have an obligation.
So artists can't make money. Got it. So true artists can't make money.
Maybe they can't. I don't know.
Wow. So in his America, true artists cannot make money.
Whoa,
you are really walking
Talk
down
about
a crazy
bionic
road.
You're doing a fallacy a minute here, Scott.
No, this is what you're saying. This is the principle that you're building your argument on.
You're straw manning like you wouldn't believe. There are going to be no crows in Bakersfield after all these straw men get put up.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. You're putting up straw men.
Explain yourself then when you said that. Yes, I have to make that. Explain that to me and how that works in your America.
The problem I have is, again, business is distinct from art. If you are doing business, you have an obligation to treat all members of the public equally. And that means if they come to you to contract with you for business, you cannot deny them because you don't like them. Now, if you do not have the talent that they require, that's one thing.
See,
if you do not have the open schedule, that's another thing.
You're putting word. It's not because you don't like them. That's where I have a problem. If you're not going to serve them because you don't like them, that's discrimination.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly what happened in the Colorado case?
No, it is not. He would serve them. He would sell them product. Nope. He would serve them.
The instant he realized they were gay, before they even talked about the design of a cake, mm-hmm. he kicked them out of the store. He wouldn't even sell them a plain cake. He kicked them out of the store.
That's not what he's saying.
Well, that's what I read about the case.
From who?
I think it was
from
the New York Times.
Yeah, from who did they interview? Who did they talk to?
Really?
The couple?
We're not going to argue over the validity of the New York Times.
Oh, heck yeah, we are. New York Times? New York Times, CNN, Fox News, they're all the same.
Really? You're going to just throw them out because you don't like them? These are mainstream news sources.
Yeah.
Okay, and their credibility certainly outranks Fox News, and you're just going to say,
no,
if you cite the New York Times.
No, it doesn't. You cite the New York. Wow. It is not the, what do they call themselves? The what is it? The history of whatever, I can't remember what their tagline is. It is still the news is biased on all sides. So they report what they want to report. They see what they want to see. It's getting outside of the topic. What I'm trying to get back to is, when is a person forced to perform? When is a person forced to perform for someone else? And when can they refuse to perform?
Okay, well, my answer to this, and I'm going to look for that link for you guys, and I'm going to find the article that I read, and I will link it in the comments, and for the sake of intellectual honesty.
I don't even know how to do that. So,
well, I'm just going to post a comment.
In the comments.
Yeah,
got it. Good.
I want the viewers to know that I'm not pulling this out of my ear.
I'm thinking the podcast notes. Sorry. I don't know how to do podcast notes, or how people say it's in the show notes. I don't know how to do the show notes. But yeah, no.
Okay.
Post it in the comments. That's fine. But again, going back to what I posted online as an actor. Mm-hmm. If I'm an actor, and can I choose what parts I get to play? Can I choose that? If I'm an actor and mm-hmm. I say I will not play the part of I will not do a bedroom scene. Mm-hmm. Do I have that choice?
Yeah, because that affects your bodily autonomy. But when we're talking about baking a cake, you're not even participating in the wedding. You are not a participant in a wedding. If you bake a cake for a wedding, you are simply providing a cake. You are selling someone a cake, and that is it. Now, you may or may not be doing a particular design on that cake.
I'm talking beyond cakes. I still believe that cake is an art form. I believe that you are creating an art form.
You're doing business with the public. You don't have the right to discriminate against the public, period.
You're not discriminating against
You can still do art.
public.
You can do art all day. You can do art in your kitchen. You can make the most non-gay straight cakes you want to make all day long in your kitchen. No one is saying you can't do art.
I'm talking about where this is leading. As an artist who does have a business, I'm talking
about where this is right now.
No, where this is right now is about where it's going. I'm talking about where this is leading. I'm talking about where this is going. I'm talking about even as a pastor, I am technically self-employed. Mm-hmm. It is my pastorship in the eyes of the government is a self-employed. I'm a self-employed businessman in a pastorship. When does this start applying to me that I have to now do a gay wedding?
Because that would conflict with your sincerely held religious beliefs. And the essence of your job is faith and religion. So absolutely nobody is going to force you to perform a gay wedding. Nobody. No sane human being.
No. This is the slippery slope, which you talked about today, that you have no problem continuing down and going down slippery slopes. You said more power to that.
Well, you're referring to a Facebook post that these people don't.
I understand that, but I'm saying in principle you don't have a problem with slippery slopes. I do.
Okay, again, you're doing a straw man here, okay? You're misconstruing an argument that I made several hours ago on a completely different issue, and you're cross-applying it over here to this gay bakery case, and then somehow because I made, and we were talking about an economic issue, somehow because of that, now you're going to be forced to perform a gay wedding? No, that's 1 + 2 = 6? No, it's 3. So we need to refocus today's discussion on what's at hand here, which is the implications of this bakery case.
What's at hand is the freedom of artists to perform.
Or the freedom of Christians, in particular, to say, we're not going to do business with people because they are gay.
And that's not what was happening.
But that is exactly what happened.
Not what was happening.
These people were ushered out of the shop before they even discussed the design of the cake.
That's not what we're talking about here.
Then what are we talking about, Scott?
What we're talking about is, again, I'm talking about as an artist, can I decide what art I will make? Or will I be forced to make art that is not in compliance with my beliefs?
It depends. But if you are doing business, you are required to treat all members of the public equally, period.
It's not about the members of the public. It's about the art being created. Mm-hmm. That's the difference.
You can create art all you want. You can do all the art you want.
If a gay couple comes in and asks me to make something that is not for the wedding, make a commercial for their business, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Because their business is not.
Why don't you care?
Because
it's gay business.
No, it's not. I don't care.
Okay, so why do you care about the wedding?
Because a wedding, to me, is a sacred event. A wedding is a sacred event. That is my beliefs. A wedding, when you're getting married, you're getting married. It's sacred before God. Those are my personal beliefs. And if I'm going to participate in a sacred event that I feel is being perverted.
Isn't everything arguably sacred?
No, not at all.
Everything is sacred, right? Everything is
No,
holy,
I'm talking
right?
literally spiritually sacred. That it is a sacrament. Like even the church considers it a sacrament.
Okay, so
that's what I'm talking about. I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if I'm going to make a commercial for their company and the owners are gay. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Okay.
It doesn't make a difference to me if the customer is gay.
But suddenly it does if they want you to bake them a cake.
Video
their wedding or photograph their engagement.
It's about the wedding. It's about the sacred event.
So what's wrong with the wedding? Really? Why are Christians so hung up about two people who love each other, who want to publicly announce that love and spend the rest of their life in a committed relationship?
Because in our beliefs, marriage is made between one man and one woman.
Okay. So where does it say that?
Okay.
All over the Bible, right?
And so the man shall leave his wife, and cleave to his wife. If I can find that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll take your word for it. You don't have to spend 10 minutes looking up all the passages. We're gonna assume there's a lot of passages in the Bible, right?
What I'm talking about, yes, and what I'm talking about is the sacredness of an event, not the people I'm serving. When I say I don't care, what I'm literally meaning is it doesn't make a difference to me if this is a black person or a gay person or a Mexican person or person from another country, whatever it is. The person doesn't make a difference to me in what they're doing. It's the art that I'm creating. I create art for this event? Can I refuse to support an event that I don't believe in? Can I refuse to not participate in an event that I don't believe in?
Okay, so
that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I feel. Now, if this guy from Colorado who did this was hiding behind, I don't want to do this, but really he just doesn't want to serve gays, that's a different issue. If he just doesn't want to serve gays, that's his problem that needs to be fixed. And I don't agree if the whole thing with the guy put up a sign, no gays allowed. No, I don't agree with that at all. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a person who creates art, do I have the right to not participate in an event that I consider unsacred?
Okay, so
that's what I'm talking about.
So
it makes no difference to me who the customer is. It's
nice.
Because that's the way it should be. What I'm talking about is, can I participate and create something for this event that I do not believe in?
Are you really participating?
Yes.
You're not popping out of the cake, man. You're just dropping it off.
I know, but again, I suppose we could.
Is PG&E participating in the wedding because they provide the electricity?
I don't know. Maybe they could make that argument. I don't know. I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying.
Talk about a slippery slope, right?
I know, right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess Chevron isn't going to pump gas on that day because they don't want the gas to be used for a gay honeymoon. Right?
Yeah. And
wow.
if they can literally point it down to, well, this particular tank and if that's what
if they could.
That's interesting. I don't know that that's even possible.
What if they could, though?
And I think it would be good for us to focus this discussion on
the slippery slope, because you like the slippery slope.
No, focus this discussion on what defines participation. Mm-hmm. I think that would be. The principle of it is that's what I want to find out. Is can we come to a terms with that define these things? Because again, if I'm an actor and I get hired for a part and I show up to the set and they say, hey, we want your character to be gay now. Do I have a right to refuse to say, okay, well, I'm going to sign out of this contract. You don't have to pay me. You can find another. Do they have the right to say that? Or sorry, you've already agreed. Now we switch the character on you. Doesn't matter. You've already agreed. You have to play this. We're not going to get somebody else. What rights do that actor have? Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with issues of bodily autonomy, I believe that bodily autonomy is absolute. So that a person can revoke consent if it involves your physical person.
We want you to play the character gay. I don't want to play a gay character. Does he have that right?
That would probably be governed by your contract and contract law.
Right, in contract
law. But you are not.
No, the contract is, if you don't play the part the director is telling you, you will be fired and not be paid. I'm fine. Fire me and don't pay me.
Okay, well, that's what's going to happen.
That's fine. But
we're over. It's all over.
Right, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the director having the right to say, no, you will not walk away. You will play this part the way I defined it because I've contracted you to play this.
So is the director going to detain you? Is he going to put chains on you and say you can't leave the studio until the shooting is done?
No, he can get his high-paid lawyers to keep me in litigation for the rest of my life. That's a threat. Isn't that not a threat against my? He can say, well, now you're blacklisted, and I'll make sure that nobody ever hires you to do this again. Can that not happen in that industry? How much do I have to be afraid of to stand up for my principles in your earth, in your America? How much do I have to be afraid of to stand up for my principles when they're not legally wrong?
Well, again, if you're doing business with the public,
so the director's not the public.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a business law expert, but what I'm telling you is when you do business with the public, you have an obligation to treat all members of the public equally.
And I'm asking you in these hypothetical instances, define that obligation, and you can't.
Okay, so I can't.
But
what I'm telling you is,
if you cannot define that obligation, how can you hold that obligation to anybody if you can't even define it?
Because I'm telling you that when you run a business, you have an obligation to treat all members of the public equally. You may not discriminate. You may not discriminate.
You can't define that
obligation.
You
may not discriminate.
But you cannot define that obligation.
I can't. But you may not discriminate.
Then how can you hold? I can define discrimination. You can't define that. I've defined discrimination. I will not discriminate against that person. I do not care who that person is, what they represent. I don't discriminate against that person. I've defined discrimination. You cannot define obligation.
So you won't participate.
You still want to hold it over me.
Okay. So you will not sell a cake. You defend a baker's right to not sell a cake to a gay couple, correct?
I defend the baker's right to not create art that he disagrees with.
Okay, does he have the right to not sell them a cake?
No, not at all.
So he's required to sell them a cake.
Absolutely.
Under the threat of law.
Because he's made that cake and he's put it out for sale. This cake is for sale. I cannot discriminate who I'm selling that cake to. You're coming to me and asking me to make a specific cake for this specific event. I can deny that.
Okay, now what if it's someone's second marriage?
I would not have a problem with a baker saying, I don't believe in that. Find another one.
What if it's an interracial marriage?
That's a very good one.
What if it's what if it's simply another race?
That where you're coming to me, that is where my argument does start to fall apart. And I'm not quite sure how to do that, because is it a strongly held religious belief? I believe that I can make a fairly good argument about, I don't believe I can make a fairly good argument about second marriage. I don't believe that I can make a good argument based biblically on that, because that has happened several times. But I do believe I can make a good, strong biblical argument saying that my strongly held religious beliefs require me to not participate in a gay marriage. I don't believe I can find anywhere where it talks about you can't participate in an interracial marriage. I don't believe that I can make a strong religious argument based out of the Bible that will point to that. Nor do I believe that I can make a strong religious case from the Bible that because they're of this race, I can't participate in that. But I do believe I can make a strong argument about a gay marriage and not being able to participate in that as a religious. So since we are talking about a strong religious objection, what's the phrasing you said? Not legitimate, strongly held religious belief. Is that
sincerely held
religious belief? I believe that an argument can be made that a sincerely held religious belief about not participating in a gay marriage can be made. I don't know that you can make a strongly held religious belief for the others, but maybe somebody can. I can't as a pastor.
What about a person? What about a person who? Let's see. How about a person who touches an unclean animal, or wears two different kinds of fabric, or eats shellfish? There's a lot of restrictions in the book of Leviticus.
Yes, and I've explained this before about pre-Mosaic law, Mosaic law, and post-Mosaic law. It was in discussion was it about that if you properly exegete Scripture about what that is about, there are several laws. There's a lot of laws that are particular in the Mosaic law that did not exist before Mosaic law and was abolished after Mosaic law when Jesus came and completed the law and started the New Testament or the New Covenant. So pulling just that, no, I do not believe that is a legitimate and proper exegesis of Scripture would show that that's not a... Now, if you're Jewish, I suppose, and you still believe in those things, then I suppose a Jewish person may be able to make that case that is a strongly held belief for them. As a Christian, it is not, because of what happened before Mosaic law, during Mosaic law, and after Mosaic law. When we were talking about the death penalty, if you guys want to find that, it was in the episode where we're talking about the death penalty, where I was explaining the different portions of the difference between the law of the Old Testament, pre-law, Old Testament law, and then the New Testament. So you can pull all those up all you want. As a Christian, they don't pertain.
Okay. Then what is the difference between, let's say, a gunsmith being involved in a shooting? We posted this meme and we had some discussion there. I'd like to give you a chance to talk about that. I posted a meme, and really it was for the sake of discussion. And the question is, how is a gunsmith making and selling a gun to a person not participating in a shooting versus a person baking a cake and somehow that's participation in the wedding? And I guess it comes down to the question, how do you define participation?
No, it comes down to, in that particular case, comes down to pre-knowledge. If the gunsmith knows, I'm going to go kill people with this gun, will you make a gun for me to kill people? And he says, yes, I know what you're going to go do with it, and I'm going to make it for you. Then yes, that gunsmith is participating in the murders, knowing that that's what's going to happen, and I'm selling it to a person, and I know that that's what they're going to do with it.
So how do we resolve this problem then? So gay people are going to get married, whether you like it or not. It's going to happen. And in fact, they've been getting married for decades.
And they're...
Even before the law acknowledged, because wedding is, it's also a spiritual thing. It's a religious thing.
Yeah.
It's two people making a commitment to each other, and those commitments have existed for thousands of years.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't force me to do it.
But are you being forced to do it if I walk into your business and I purchase a product and you already said no? But the part that's unique to you then is I can't make you put the gay topper on the cake or something? At what point are you participating in my gay marriage if I were to get gay married? You're the baker.
It's the same as a gun. Now, it's interesting in that.
So can I buy a sheet cake off you for my gay wedding? You already baked it. You already set it out.
In the definition that I have defined, I would say yes. I would say it's out here for sale to the public.
But I'm going to come and I'm going to tell you, hi Scott, I want a cake for my gay wedding, and I see that beautiful sheet cake over there. It's chocolate. Oh, I love chocolate. I'm going to buy it.
That's fine. I've already made it. It's for sale.
Okay.
I've already made it.
But you have the pre-knowledge. You said pre-knowledge is key. You have pre-knowledge now.
I have pre-knowledge, but when I made that, I didn't make it for that. I didn't have pre-knowledge when I made it.
Are you participating in my gay wedding?
I don't believe that I am.
Okay,
because I've already created this.
So now I say, Scott, I want you to put the words Marshall and Scott forever.
I won't do that. I'll. You can take the cake. You can buy it. I'm not going to put those words on the cake.
Because that is art. Writing the letters is art.
No, it's not.
I don't know. I guess it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's participating, right?
That for me, that would be now I'm knowingly participating and creating something for something I don't believe.
Okay, so now let's say you do that. Okay, as a Christian, you do that. What's the consequence to you? What's the penalty, man? Come on.
Anytime you compromise your values,
mm-hmm.
anytime you compromise your values, you weaken them.
What does that mean? What does that really mean?
It's about honor. It's about, do you honor your beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I willing to compromise my beliefs so that I can take their money?
Well, if you're in business, isn't that really the point of business, is to make money?
The point of business is to make money, but not to compromise my beliefs to make money.
But the social contract that you enter into with the state, with the people of the United States.
That's where I'm getting into.
Business,
I do not believe that social contract forces me to deny my beliefs.
But it does compel you. Compel you under law to treat all people equally.
And I do, and you know that I am. I have stated that, and I will.
But you won't write Scott and Marshall on this cake.
No.
You would do it for heterosexual Joe over there. You would write, Adam and Eve, right? But you won't do Adam and Steve. What's up with that?
Because you're asking me to create something knowing what it's going for and creating something for an event that I abhor. Now, if I've already created it and put it out there, I've created this in general. If you're going to buy it, I can't control that. I can't control what you're going to do with it. It's out of my hands. I created it and put it out for sale.
So
but if you're asking me to do something for that event, not for you, the person. If you were to walk in and say, hey, I'm gay, I have a daughter, it's her birthday, will you write happy birthday, da-da-da? Sure, I don't care. Happy birthday. The event of happy birthday is not something that I don't believe in. I don't care. It makes no difference to me if you tell me you're gay and this is it's the birthday. What am I creating the art for? Do I have the right to say I will create art or not create art for an event, for something that is happening that I do not believe? Do I have that right as an artist in America?
So as an artist, or let's say as a baker, then you could deny a couple. Let's say there's a couple and they go to the same church or they live in the same community, and you know that you disagree with their union. And then let's say it's a heterosexual union and they're getting married in a Christian church, but you disagree with that particular union because you know that they were both married to other people before. They both, maybe they had an affair, got divorced, and decided to get married to each other.
If I did not believe in their union, I would not want to participate and make a cake for them.
So you would tell them, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make a cake.
If they were, it's same thing. If they were to come and say, hey, I want you to, do this wedding for me, and I know the history behind it, and I know the hurt that was behind it, I know the betrayal that was behind it, and I don't believe that they should be together. No, I'm not going to participate.
Okay, so are you judging these people then?
Oh, I probably am.
Okay, now as a Christian, I thought you're not supposed to judge people. What does that mean?
But we're not. But again, we're talking about the law. We're talking.
Okay, well, the law would say you sell them the darn cake. You're in business,
and
you can't discriminate. They come to you
for
a cake.
What protected group would they be from?
Well, they're just members of the public. You have to treat all members of the public equally. Any other member of the public would come in and buy a cake, so therefore.
Yeah.
You sell them a cake.
I'm not talking about selling cakes.
Now I'm
not talking about.
And marital status, I think, is a protected class. Is it? It may be. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It sounds like it may be for
So, because I don't think you can discriminate.
Although they're not married yet.
Right. Okay. That's true. Good point. But what if it were based on race? What if it were an interracial couple, let's say?
I don't believe that I could make a sincerely held religious belief about that.
There are some churches. There are some Christian churches. They're Christian in name, certainly. I mean, we can argue the no true Scotsman fallacy, whether or not they're really Christian, right? But there are some churches that are.
We got to hit sometime.
That are grounded in race. They believe that interracial couples are inherently sinful, and so should they be forced then to bake the cake if they're a member of that particular church?
I would have to say if they're going to make it or they're going to bake it and they're making it for that event and they do not believe in that event for whatever reason, I don't believe that they should be forced to create it. Now, if they refuse to serve the couple anything, if they kick them out of the room, kick them out of their business because they're an interracial couple, you can't kick them out of the business. You can't tell them to leave.
So if a person has a sincerely held religious belief that interracial marriages are somehow morally wrong, you would protect their choice. You would probably say it's a right. You would protect them. You would defend them from being compelled to bake a cake for their wedding.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I believe in the action for the event, not the people. It's the event that's happening. That's what I'm talking about. Participating in an event that you don't believe in. Do you have a right to not participate in an event that you find, for whatever reason, personally detestable?
So how do you prevent the slippery slope? Because that's what I just hooked you in on there.
That's what I think I've defined it. The definition is creating something for a specific event. Creating something for a specific event. That the event
isn't everything created for a specific event?
No, I'm saying that created for that event. If that event is detestable to you personally, religiously, whatever, if you feel that you cannot participate in that event, I don't feel you should be forced to participate in that event. If a gay couple comes into your store, you cannot kick them out of your store. If they want to buy what you have for sale, you cannot deny them sale. You cannot, but if they're going to contract you to make something for a specific event, you should have the right to be able to say, I will not do it for that event.
Why can't you kick them out of the store?
What do you mean?
Well, by having them merely amongst you or in your presence, it could be said that you're endorsing what they're doing.
No.
Why not?
I'm not endorsing by being in their presence. I can't walk down the street. If I'm walking down the street next to someone, I'm endorsing them. No.
They're in your establishment.
That's fine. Anybody can walk into my establishment. That doesn't mean that they're endorsing me or I'm endorsing them. I'm specifically talking about what an artist can create for that event.
Isn't there a difference though between doing art and being in business? It's art or it's business.
I think you can be in business doing art.
But if you're in business, don't you have an obligation to treat all members of the public equally?
And I will.
But you will turn down people based on...
I will not turn down people.
Your sincerely held religious beliefs.
I will not turn down people.
Okay, but you will deny people based on their...
I will not deny people.
Okay, but if
I will not participate in that event.
How? Okay, so you're turning down events, not people.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I will not participate. I thought that's what I was clearly saying. That I will not participate in that event.
But that event is the marriage of two people. It's still people.
That's why I'm saying I feel that I have and can clearly define what this is that I'm trying to say. I'm waiting for you to define the obligation.
The obligation is to treat all people of the public equally. If you would sell a cake to one person, you must also sell a cake to the second person, and so on and so forth. And it does not matter.
I'm not quite sure what Lee's question is. Social contract, ? LOL. I'm not quite sure what they're questioning. Maybe you might want to clarify that, Lee. But
doesn't like what I said about the social contract. A social contract is any kind of agreement that is stated or implied, between a society and an individual. So when you, as a business, open up a storefront, there is an implied, if not, there is also a legal, an existing social contract called the law and the Constitution that says I cannot discriminate against people based on, race, creed, religion, and so on and so forth. And that is a social contract. So, Lee, I invite you to further clarify if you want to, ask a question or make an argument. Absolutely. Hey, you might be right. I could be wrong. But we're here to discuss these ideas and thrash these things out.
And on this here, again, I am coming at this from the perspective of principle of what can someone in America be forced to do against their will? That's my question. What can someone in America, what is
Quite
the limitation, can be forced to do?
We force people to do a lot of things
against their will. Right. So that's where this is coming from. Now, it's a separate question whether or not me, Scott Garcia, will shoot a video for a gay couple. Somebody posted on there, Jesus would have baked them a cake.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Would he have built them a house? Maybe it'd be better.
Possibly, right? Yeah, because he was a carpenter. Would he have built them something? It's possible. I don't know. I think maybe he might. But would Jesus have married them? No, he wouldn't have done the performance. He wouldn't. He wouldn't have done that. He would not have participated in the wedding. Would he have gone? I don't know. I mean, he went to that one wedding. I don't think it was a gay wedding, but he went to that wedding in Cana. That was his first miracle. Made water into wine. So I mean, was he participating in people getting drunk afterwards?
But what
That's
happens
a good question.
when?
But what I'm saying is, me personally, is a different. I'm not saying. I see the separation in what someone should be forced to do by law and what someone should do of the goodness of their heart. I believe that baker should have made the gay cake.
Okay. Do you
out of the goodness of his heart? If he wanted to win them over with love, he should do that. However, I do not believe he should be forced to do it. That's the difference.
So, where do you draw the line with the person's sincerely held religious beliefs?
That's tough. That is really tough. It comes down to, having to define. I suppose at some point, if it comes down to a case of law, it would have to be. You would have to have someone come in and exegete whatever scripture they're claiming, and bring an expert in to say, is that actually a common belief? But even then, is it not okay to have a belief that's not common?
Right.
That's the tough part. But again, that's why I feel that the definition of what I'm talking about has nothing to do with the person being served. It has to do with the participation of an event.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very concerned with I think we're both concerned with slippery slope, but in two different directions.
Yep.
I'm concerned that if we say, okay, a baker can turn away a couple based on their sincerely held religious beliefs because the couple is gay, what happens when the couple becomes a second marriage or a third marriage or an interracial couple or a minority couple? What happens when sincerely held religious beliefs then apply to other parts?
Again,
like I won't sell you condoms at the cash register, or I won't sell you alcohol.
You keep going back to that, and that's not the
I'm
argument.
Muslim. I won't sell you pork at the grocery store.
That's not the argument I'm even making. You keep going back to that.
No, I'm making the argument. This is my concern. My concern is that once we open
and I'm saying
the door a little bit here, it turns into a floodgate.
Right.
And pretty soon you have everybody claiming religious exemptions for all kinds of different things, and doing business in America becomes a nightmare.
For their event?
Well, it could be for anything.
That's what I'm saying. You define it as an event.
Maybe
You define it as an event. That's the clear thing that I'm talking about. I keep saying this, and you keep saying, yeah, but you can't, the person, people are going to say, I can't. That's not what I'm talking about. I agree with you. You can't do that. I agree. Everything that you're saying right now, I agree. You cannot do that. I'm saying you also cannot force me to participate in an event that is detestable to me.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I agree in everything that you're saying, that you cannot say, well, my religious held beliefs say that I cannot serve this person. No, that's discrimination. I cannot serve this person, but you cannot force me to participate in an event that is against my religious personal.
So our bakery's gonna put signs up, no gays.
No, because again, gosh, are you doing that on purpose?
I'm asking you.
No. I have clearly said already that I agree with you that they cannot do that. Why do you keep asking me that?
Okay, I'm just.
Why do you keep putting those words in my mouth? Why do you keep going back to that?
I am asking the question.
When I clearly said, no, they cannot.
Okay, then you have to say no one more time. And you've just said no one more time. But I'm clarifying
again, aren't you?
No, I'm done.
That frustrates me because that is not what I'm saying. Okay. And you keep going back to that as though that's what I'm saying. You keep going back to that saying, well, Scott, you're saying that da-da-da. No, I am not.
Because that's what's going to happen. If the bakers win this case, there's going to be signs in bakery windows, no gays allowed.
Then those places should be shut down.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way.
Absolutely.
I'm good.
Absolutely. Because that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, as an artist, what can you force me to do? What can you force me to create as an artist? That's what that's the part that I want to, that's what I have. I feel I have, as an artist, I got to fight. What can you force me to do as an artist?
Well, as a business, not as an artist, as a business, you're required to treat all members of the public equally.
Don't even go there. I am treating them equally.
Okay.
I have established that.
But
what can you force me to make?
You can do art and make whatever, or not make whatever you want all day long. But when your art becomes a business, that gets into a gray area that we have to work out. That is obviously coming up to the Supreme Court.
And the Supreme Court punted on it.
Yep, and they punted.
This is, yeah.
Love you, Scott.
I love you, and I want to say right now, I'm sorry for misconstruing your slippery slope comment from Facebook. It felt, because to me, when you said that, you're always arguing. I'm always saying slippery slope, and you say you can't do slippery slope. And then when I said, hey, I thought that hey, you're now empowering a slippery slope idea. And when you said fine, I'm like, oh, so you don't actually care about slippery slope as long as it agrees with your position.
Well, I was on the beach when I wrote that.
That frustrated me. Yeah. So I thought that maybe, oh, you don't really believe, you're not really against slippery slope. It's just, as long as it's convenient to you. That's what frustrated me. So when I fired that at you, I was sincerely frustrated that you only care.
Well, this is why it's important to talk, right?
Yeah. So that's why I fired at you that way. And I'm sorry for doing that, because that was out of context from what you were saying.
Yeah, no problem. It's all good. All right. Well, hey, valid answer.
Yeah, we're a few minutes over what we normally do, but thank you for staying with us. Thank you for joining us on A Valid Answer. We're here at kerncast.com every Sunday night at 5 o'clock. You can catch us on our podcast on iTunes. Please, if you're listening to us on iTunes, rate us, because it makes us easier to search and more people find us. And we really want to get what we do. This act of discussion, we want to get this out there and public, so that people will begin to have discussions like this, because this is how things are going to get solved. Agree?
I thoroughly agree.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been A Valid Answer with Scott and Marshall.
Thank you.